Good morning. So today I want to talk about our homeschool routine. And homeschool routine is going to be one of those things that varies from household to household and mom to mom and personality to personality. So what works for me might not work for you. And I totally get it. I personally have done probably hundreds of hours of research at this point in the course of my homeschooling journey from the time that Evie was a baby, because right after she was born, COVID hit. So from the time she was an infant, I knew that I was probably going to homeschool. So I had started researching this about 7 years ago. I've watched hundreds of videos on the topic. Most people that homeschool are homeschooling multiple children. Of all the videos that I've watched, I think I've only found like 2 or 3 that were only homeschooling one child. So, most of the video content that I've absorbed and I've watched has involved many children from 2 all the way up to 10, sometimes 12 kids, and everything in between. So I've had to cherry pick a lot of things from these video content creators that fit with my personality, my lifestyle, and my one child, and her personality as well. Some things worked, other things didn't. So this video is meant for just for my people that are working with me personally within my co-op, and maybe at my church, that are interested in my perspective on things. I just get asked these questions a lot. And so these are the things that I've boiled down that have been working for me. There's a few of the things that I have found throughout the years that didn't work, like a morning basket that changes once a week or once a day. That didn't work for me. I just can't keep up with it. I've got too many other things going on. So that kind of stuff, you're going to have to discern the things in my video that might work for you and some things that might not work for you, because I am only homeschooling one child. But I will say that of all the video content that I've watched, this stuff that I have boiled it down to can scale. Because I have gathered all of my information from a variety of sources and a variety of lifestyles and a variety of women that have been homeschooling, like basically generations of kids. There's one lady that's been homeschooling for 26 years. Because of that, because I've had to model my homeschool off of the people that have bigger families, this methodology that I've come up with can scale up. So a lot of the people with bigger families, usually they'll either divide their day, or they'll set up their younger kids with things to do specific to them in their homeschool time that they only get to play with during homeschool time, so that they're entertained while they get their older kids set up. I've also seen it where they'll homeschool their younger kids in the morning when they have more energy and more joy. As the day progresses, sometimes we get tired and we get a little more cranky and a little more upset easily as the day progresses. So I've seen some people do it to where they'll homeschool their littles in the morning, and they'll just do like preschool through second grade first thing in the morning with their littles, and then in the afternoon, they'll take a break for lunch, and then in the afternoon they'll come back and help with their older kids and get them set up in the afternoon, because it's kind of a more sedate, more quiet environment, and when you're dealing with older kids, you're a little more focused. So I've seen people set their homeschools up like that, and I say this to hopefully help some people, because there's I know how challenging this can be. I know I have quite a bit of time to dedicate to research and to look things up, and I know a lot of my friends don't. So I'm hoping that this video can help impart on you some nuggets of things that you can maybe incorporate into your own. I totally get it if this does not help you at all, and that's fine. And maybe I'm just here to offer you encouragement that there are resources online. Look for the women that have been doing this for a very long time, that have maybe the same amount of kids as you, or maybe more amount of kids than you, so that you can kind of see their organization and the way they do their day. I've seen some ladies, this one lady, she has 9 kids that she homeschools, and she raves about starting her meals first thing in the morning, so that by the time the afternoon comes along and she's just tired and drained, she doesn't have to worry about dinner because it's already been cooking all day. So, she'll set up a crock pot or a stock pot or whatever she has for the plan for the day. She'll do all of that front loaded in the morning, including lunches and all of that. She'll front load all of that in the morning, and then that way her day just goes so much smoother. So there's little tricks and tips like that. So if you watch, I suggest finding like 5, 6, 7 guru moms, homeschool moms, that maybe you can cherry pick little nuggets of information that you might apply to your own life. And I know for me, that's what I've had to do. There might be one homeschool mom where like, yes, that works. That's, there was one mom, and actually she's the same one that suggested doing the cooking in the morning. The same one that suggested that also said to set yourself a mission statement for the 18 years of your learning. And so that was a huge nugget of information that has really helped me. So even though she has 9 kids and the rest of her information just does not apply to me, that one little nugget of information was a game changer for me, because what setting a mission for me does is it helps me put perspective on the details. So I don't have to drill down on the nitty gritty all the time. And like, my little type A personality likes to set goals and check off lists and do all of that. What this overarching mission statement does for me is it allows me to relax and keep the perspective in mind that I want to raise my daughter in a godly manner. I want her to know and love her faith. I want her to know and love Jesus above all else. And if we miss the mark on some little minutia detail on Jupiter, is that really going to matter in my long-term plan? No, it's not. So it allows me to relinquish that control of all the little nitty-gritty details and the trivial points of homeschooling that we can sometimes get bogged down with. So my point is to find your homeschooling gurus, your kind of life coaches, if you will, and that way you can find out what works best for you. My second piece of advice is simplify. Even with me, with only one child, I have had to simplify my homeschool strategy. I like workbooks. I like curriculum. I like textbooks. I love to read. I love worksheets. I love all of that stuff. But I found that especially in these younger years, I was bogging myself down with too much. And so once I started and narrowed it down and simplified my plan, things are going so much more smooth. And I'm not feeling compelled to use every single bit of curriculum and product that I have in my house anymore. I've narrowed it down to like 3 things that we use on a daily basis, and that's it. And the third thing is very simple. It's just a notebook for handwriting practice. So we have a phonics book, a math book, and a notebook for handwriting practice. And that's our main curriculum part for that part of it. And then we also use classical conversations on top of it. So that's where we talk about the different categories of things. So we're learning bite-sized things throughout the week. So it's bite-sized Latin, bite-sized little history sentence, a bite-sized little bit of English, all these little things that are just little steps, timeline, and all of that. So that way, my homeschool has very much boiled down and gotten simpler as she's gotten older and we've gotten further into this journey. So please, if you're finding yourself overwhelmed, you might need to simplify and see how that plays out. So I'm also going to walk you through what my homeschool day looks like, because I get the feeling like some people think it has to be this dramatic big plan every day and that you have to stick to a schedule and the whole thing. And I don't stick to a schedule. I stick to a loose routine. So in the mornings, we get up, we get dressed first thing in the morning. Even if I know we're going to be here all day long, I make it a point. We both get up, we both get dressed, because if we're dressed with our shoes on, we are ready to work. We're ready to do the day, whatever the day has planned. And it's a mentality shift. So if we're just sitting in our PJs all day or all morning or whatever, it's hard to turn on your brain and to get focused. So the other thing that I've instituted as well is achievements. So she's got to do her homeschool stuff without fuss. And if she does her 1 hour of one-on-one homeschool stuff with me, and she does not put up a fuss, she gets to earn privileges, and she loves that. That right there has alleviated so many arguments. It has also condensed our time from dragging on for most of the morning, because when you're dealing with a 6-year-old or under, you don't want that time to just drag on and drag on and drag on. You should just be able to squeeze it in, because as homeschooling parents, we don't have to do the whole 8-hour grind. You know, the things that we can get done in an hour is a lot. You can get done in an hour what public school has to grind out in 8 hours. So by setting these expectations that we are getting dressed in the morning, we're sitting down, we're saying our prayer, and we're diving into our work, and I expect that you're gonna put on a positive attitude, because I've also talked to her about attitude. Her attitude matters. If her attitude stinks, our homeschool hour stinks, and it just takes way longer. And that took some training on my part. It took weeks of trying to convince her that if you put up a fight, this is going to take longer, and you're not going to be able to play as long, because if you're putting up a fight with me, I'm going to put up with a fight with you back, and you're going to start to be punished for whatever you're doing, you know what? And usually that means she does not get those privileges. She does not get to go swimming today. She does not get tablet time today. She does not, and depending on the the amount of stink she put up will depend on how long that is. So, okay, you've just lost a day of privilege. Now you've just lost 2 days of privilege. Now you've just lost 3 days of privilege. So she finally has gotten to the point where she realizes that her attitude matters, and that putting on a positive attitude and a smile on your face while we're doing it. And I try to let my attitude be contagious. Like, we're going to sit down, we're going to have fun, we're going to do this, we're going to learn, we're going to play games. Because I usually do like a fun flashcard game or a fun bananagrams game or whatever that looks like. But if her attitude stinks, then, it's harder to keep that attitude up. So she has finally realized, after a couple of weeks of battles during the summer, that these are the expectations. And if you meet my expectations, we're going to have so much more fun with our homeschool, and the joy is going to come back. So that's that. The other thing is, I'll walk you through my homeschool captain's log. It's not a planner, it's my captain's log. But so I don't set daily goals. I set daily subjects that we need to do. And then, so if we're doing math, I let her maybe pick the math pages that we're doing. So I'm like, okay, well, we need to work on math, addition, subtraction. You can choose one of these 3 pages, or you can choose 2 out of these 5 pages. So you're giving them a choice. You're letting them be an active participant in their choices. You're not letting them not do it. You're not doing math. You're definitely going to do math. This is what we're doing. But you have a choice in which pages you get to do. Same thing with phonics. Do you want to do this page? Do you want to do this page? Do you want to do that? Like, give them a little bit of a choice, because they don't have a choice whether they homeschool or not. They don't have a choice in what subjects you're going to present to them. But I have found personally that by giving her even just little bits of choices like that, and you're still in control of that. So we might do those 3 pages that day, or those 2 pages that she chose that day, but we have to get to the ones that you picked. You've got to get to all those 5 pages. So the next day you include those initial pages that she didn't do with an extra set of pages the next day. And so you're building on, even though you're not setting strict, rigid goals of what you're working on for that day, you're still charting what you're doing for that day. And then that way, the next day you sit down with it, you know what you did the prior day, and you can pick up where you left off. I find that this has been a game changer for me. It's been so much more helpful than setting rigid goals and then failing at meeting those goals. Then I feel like I failed. I feel like she feels like she's failed. It kind of creates this downward spiral of we're just not achieving what we should be achieving. But if you keep a planner that's more like a captain's log, you can log in what you have actually done for that day. And because I do incorporate educational tablet time during the week, if you're choosing to do that, log all the extras. So not just your one-on-one time that you're sitting down with and doing for that day, log whatever else she's learned for that day. Okay, if she's doing vacation Bible school, log it. If she's doing a dancing, log it. If she's watching a Number Blocks episode on on her tablet time, I don't do YouTube because it's just, I don't do YouTube. But if you're doing that sort of thing, if you're doing educational content for kids, that's safe. Again, I always go back to that, make sure that it's safe. But if you're doing educational content like that and they're learning math on their own in some other form of way, whether it's an app on your phone or if they're playing a game with their siblings or whatever it is, put it in your notebook, because what you're going to find is they are learning so much more than you give them credit for outside of that 1 hour that you're doing. I hope that makes sense. So whatever it is that they're doing, if you notice that they're playing a board game with their older siblings and that involves adding numbers because they're doing dice, they're rolling dice and they're adding, put it in your notebook. Put it in there that you're noticing that your 5-year-old is doing addition, subtraction, math. So it can come in more than, education can come in more than just me teacher, you student. We're going to sit down and we're going to grind out workbook. It's more than that. So whatever it is that they are learning for that entire day, chart it in your logbook. That way you know what they're learning and you know how to build on it and how to grow it the next day. So that's my spiel with notebooks. So I'm going to show you my captain's log. So this is next week's. Notice it's blank. It's largely blank. All I have filled in is the categories that we're going to go over. Okay. This day we babysit. She doesn't usually do any kind of TV or tablet time that day because she's just so busy playing with cousins. So I don't even keep it as an option. But on other days, notice you've got a little tablet, a TV tablet box. If she succeeds in doing the hour of homeschool with me with no fuss and no complaints, she earns her tablet time, and I mark it and I give her stickers. Give rewards. Give your kids rewards. If they finish 5 pages of math or phonics or whatever, or even 1 page of phonics or math without fuss, they get stickers. They love stickers. So, reward them when they succeed with no fuss. Reward them. You want those times. So this is my logbook for next week. I'm going to show you one of my pages from over the summer that's filled out. This next page that I'm about to show you started like this. Okay. It started like this. It looks like a lot, but it's not, I promise. Okay. Okay. So keep in mind, it started out the way it looked before. Math, phonics, handwriting. This happens to be one of the days she blew it out of the water for me. Okay. So we did math and we did addition, subtraction, 11 through 20. Okay. We did, a few word problems. We did 4 pages total. 4 pages total. So we probably did like a page of word problems, and we probably did like 2 or 3 pages of addition, subtraction, 11 through 20. The other thing we did was phonics, and we worked on our EY sounds and our AU sounds, and we did 3 pages of phonics. We did handwriting, and she did some spelling work. And then she hand wrote out the poem up here. So, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. So I would usually take a poem and then pick out vocabulary words out of that poem that she has to write out in her handwriting book. And then we always read. Every night we read. So usually in the evenings, I'll put down what we've read for that evening. So we read a little geology book. And I also count word problems as reading. If they're reading word problems for math, they are reading. Okay, that's reading practice. So we also did that day 8+ flashcards. We did additions counting by 8. We did flashcards. Okay. So I just recorded everything we did that day. And then she earned tablet time. So she also got stickers and everything for that. And then I just went down. So we, because we kind of knocked it out of the ballpark here, we didn't do quite as much over here. And I think we just had something else going on. We had a bunch of other things going on. But we did still do writing the words. We did the same thing up here. We skipped phonics that day, and we did number towers. So number towers is like this puzzle game that she has to do. So we still worked on homeschool that day. But what ends up happening is sometimes she just doesn't have the attention span. And I try to give her some grace with that. She is only 6. So if you're finding that the attention span is waning, maybe just reduce that hour, okay? You strive for an hour, but if it's a little bit less than that, don't stress, because the next day, she knocked it out of the ballpark again, okay? The next day, we rocked it again. So, that time that you spend is going to average out. And then again, especially if you're using educational tablet time, educational apps and content and stuff, like my daughter does, she's learning so much more on top of what we're doing one-on-one. So with like ABC Mouse, she might be learning about the Golden Gate Bridge. She's learning about history. She's learning about the presidents of the United States. She's learning about geography. So she's doing independent learning on top of what she's doing one-on-one with me. So, and because she cherry picks and she does like bounces around on her apps, I don't keep track of every little thing that she's doing on her tablet all the time. She's not allowed to wear earplugs or anything like that. So I am aware of what she's listening to throughout the day or throughout the hour or two, because I don't let her binge watch all day long. Usually we have other plans or other things going on anyway, so it kind of gets interrupted. But she's not the type of kid to just zone out. She'll usually put it away on her own, or she's doing other things. Sometimes it's even just sitting there while she's doing other things, or while she's paper crafting, or like last night she was watching number blocks and she was literally doing laps in our living room while she was counting and doing number blocks. So, she's not zoning out in front of tablet time. And usually, even though we do the 1 hour per day of intentional homeschooling, I'll let her play an hour or 2 a day of her tablet, her educational or spiritual. It's formed, so it's all a Christian-based app, and so it's got animated Bible stories and animated Jesus stories and all this stuff that's really fun. So she gets an hour or 2 of that a day, sometimes an hour in the morning, sometimes an hour in the evening, and then the rest of the day is filled with chores and playtime and play dates and swimming and dance practice and art classes, and so our day is full. So she's not just like, I don't use tablet as a babysitter. It's a sanctified, very intentional use of tablet time that I use to supplement our homeschool. And it's been nice because it kind of supports not only our homeschool, but it helps her to be able to kind of be self-guided and have some sort of control over what she's learning. And she loves to learn. It really helps to develop that love, that lifelong love of learning that you really want kids to have. So she's doing that. She's also got, because of ABC Mouse and some of the different apps, they have a whole library of books that are recorded, and it's got the stories and everything, and they highlight the story as they're reading it. So she's reading along with the story that's highlighted. Just all kinds of stuff like that. Otherwise, that's pretty much the brunt of my book there. I'm going to take you on a tour of our house, and this is how our homeschool day kind of flows. So, and it's just going to be very brief, but basically our day starts out with me sitting and getting my coffee. We also get dressed first thing in the morning so that we are just ready and set for the day. We get up and we do math. I have her morning basket here. Okay, so we do, I took it out a second ago. So her math and her handwriting book is here, and her phonics book is here. Make sure you're simplifying your homeschool morning, because simplifying it to just these 3 things has been a game changer. So I highly recommend it. Then we also go through our co-op grammar for the day, and that just takes a few minutes because it's all mostly by song. And then I've got stickers. I've got a reward system for stickers, sticker book. This has flashcards in it, addition, subtraction flashcards. So we play games. It's got multiplication flashcards. Again, we play a game with that. Ruler for measuring. It's got tape. And then over here, see, she's listening. She's listening to her number blocks while she's working on crafting projects. So she's got all of her crafting stuff. Scissors, glue, tape, markers, pens, yeah, dot paint, all the stuff to be able to be crafty. And
cardboard boxes.
Yeah, cardboard boxes are fun, huh? So she's got all of the tools that she needs to make her homeschool enriching and fun and crafty, and she's constantly making paper crafts and paper dolls and building things. She's got Play-Doh. This box over here in the corner has extra construction paper. It has extra markers, dry erase things, colored pencils. Here's the clay. So she's got clay. These are her number block manipulatives. So, so all the number blocks while she's doing math, she can click them together and practice her math. She loves doing that. Those have been a big hit in our house. This down here just has extra art supplies and all the construction paper and white paper that she could ever want. Big box of crayons. Kind of a mess, but that's because they're well used, and these are her favorite things. All of this is her favorite stuff to do, and it all supplements what I am doing in that 1 hour. So the rest of the day, the rest of the week, Monday through Friday, is free learning, right? So, and that includes my husband and I. We all sanctify our technology use. So we're all constantly learning. We don't watch any junk TV or junk apps during the day while we're homeschooling during the week, Monday through Friday. We're constantly, even my husband and I, are learning things educational. I'm reading new books. Right now, I'm reading a book on the early church fathers, and I'm also reading a book on the Reformation. So I am constantly learning, even during the week. So we're setting that lead learner example. I set up the atmosphere of learning in my household so that it's inviting to learn. So all of this stuff kind of puts everything on autopilot for me, and I don't have to stress about it. So hard. Okay, so all I have to do first thing in the morning for my homeschool is just that 1 hour to homeschool. If you've got many kids, I suggest look up some of the other homeschool moms that are homeschooling multiple kids. I've seen some people, I think I said in the beginning of this video, that some people will break up their day. They'll do the littles in the morning and they'll do the older kids in the afternoon, or they have so many tricks and tips. You shouldn't be having to bang your head against the wall. If you're finding things hard, find the easiest route that's still working for you, okay? The atmosphere of learning in my house, we keep the TV off during the day, during the week, unless it's got like a background or something nice that's just a background. They've got like those fireplace things or whatever. I've also got a big map in my living room, so we constantly are referencing the map. Oh, we're talking about Peru. Where is Peru? Okay, there's Peru. So got this big map. My husband built me a wonderful library. Okay, so we just have reminders throughout the house. This is her little library that she uses. It's got all her books in it. This is kind of overflow stuff. The only 3 books, like I said, we use are the ones in the morning basket. Those are my 1 hour kind of things. We also have reminders that this is a Christ-centered house. So I have little trinkets and things that kind of remind us around the house that we need to keep Christ at our center, and that just kind of keeps us a little more joy-filled. So there's little reminders of that here and there. There's a Mary up there. There's a crucifix above our door. There's just little reminders of that throughout the house. I have a Last Supper model that's above our kitchen stove. So that's my homeschool. I really hope this helps somebody find their flow. I hope it helps take the stress off. Like I said, I don't expect that everything in this video will apply to everybody as a one-size-fits-all. I want to encourage you and say that there is no one-size-fits-all. It really is about finding your personality, what fits your personality, what fits your children's personality, and the flow in your house. But that's pretty much it. I hope you got something from this. My homeschool lifestyle has gotten so much easier and so much more joy-filled by doing it this way. I would also say try and keep your house as organized as you can. I know with littles that's really hard, and I just recently had to go through, I spent like 2 weeks going through things, getting rid of stuff, minimalizing, reducing, throwing bags of trash away, like broken crayons and pieces of used tape, and like, just, you know how kids are, they leave a trail wherever they go. So, broken toys. So I just went through and reduced all of that. I can say from experience that, a cluttered house is not conducive to learning. So try and keep the clutter down as best as you can. I know it's hard. We had a ridiculous summer, so that was really challenging. But it's really been a big player in resetting my household lately, and reevaluating my flow. So, and I'll make another video on that, on how I kind of diagnose problems. But I hope this helps somebody. I really do. I hope it helps somebody in our community. Know that I'm praying for you. If you know me personally and you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Yeah, God bless you, and I will be walking with you on this journey, and I'll be praying for you and with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.